Let's be real. No matter how secure you believe the internet to be, there's always going to be a hacker around the corner ready to steal your information. Ever since the internet came to be, there have been hackers that were actually lethal and hacked into systems that everyone thought were impenetrable. Curious to find out more? Keep watching this video. In this video, we're going to give you a roundup of the 10 most dangerous hackers in history. Let's begin. Number 10. Jeremy Hammond. Have you ever wondered what a real-life Robin Hood would look like? Well, we already have one. Jeremy Hammond. This 35-year-old American hacker has always been more of a good hacker. It sounds like an oxymoron, but much of his work consisted of attacking neo-Nazis and Holocaust deniers. But his most significant stunt was hacking the emails of the Stratfor Group, which is a geopolitical intelligence platform, and then proceeded to publish 973 of those emails on the WikiLeaks website. Now, these emails weren't ordinary. They had information about Osama bin Laden's death and plans to incite a revolution in Venezuela. The most shocking part is that he got arrested, not for this, but for stealing 60,000 credit card numbers and donating to charity. He was released in 2020 after 10 years imprisonment. Number 9. Kevin Paulson. Not all hackers end up living life behind bars. Some of them end up working as a news editor, like the very harmless hacker Kevin Paulson. His most known devilish act is hacking into the phone lines of KISS FM computers in order to be the 100-second caller. This allowed him to win a Porsche 944S. That's not all. He even lured in and identified dirty MySpace users who were looking for child pornography. He was eventually arrested and ended up serving a 5-year sentence. The funniest part is when he was released in 1995, it was on the basis of an internet ban for him. He wasn't allowed to use the internet at all for the next 3 years. Now he works as a journalist and even wrote a book called Kingpin. Number 8. Jonathan James. The first juvenile arrested for cybercrime was Jonathan James, who has a pretty tragic story. He was only 16 when he stole $170 million worth of code from NASA by hacking into the computers of the Defense Threat Reduction Agency. He then proceeded to install something called a backdoor, which allowed him access to the messages and the source code. Because he was so young, he only received a juvenile sentence. Later, things took a depressing turn in 2007 when he was found to be linked with the TJX department store hacking. He was allegedly innocent and even said so himself, but because of the fear of prison, he committed suicide on May 18, 2008. Number 7. The Aurora Hackers. Next, we have a group of hackers who are believed to be from China. This notorious group targeted 34 companies in 2009. One of these companies was Google, who first spoke out about the attack on their intellectual property. Even though they hacked into some Gmail accounts, they were after the source code of those powerful companies rather than personal information. This huge stunt was called Operation Aurora, and the hackers have not been found to this day. In fact, Google completely withdrew from China after that. Number 6. Adrian Lamo. Adrian Lamo, also known as the homeless hacker, has more of a peculiar personality than any other hacker. He's been known to be very antisocial and so religious that he refused to give any blood samples. Hacking is what hackers do, but creating drama is more of what Adrian did when he donated to WikiLeaks and exposed a soldier for leaking confidential military information. Other than that, he even added himself to the expert database of the New York Times website. Despite his antisocial personality, he was friends with Kevin Paulson, and they were commonly called felons and snitches. He was said to be hiding from the same soldier and died in 2018 on March 14th. Number 5. Robert Tappan. Robert Tappan was one of the earliest hackers who created a quite powerful virus by accident. The virus is called the Morris worm and has infected 6,000 computers. He was trying to find the size of the internet back in 1988 when he released it. The Morris worm was apparently unkillable and replicated in unwanted places uncontrollably. He was the first person to be charged for a computer fraud and abuse act. Thankfully, this innocent guy's sentence was light and consisted of just probation, community service, and a fine. Number 4. Cody Cresting. Cody Cresting was one of those hackers who did stunts for fun and to prove to people how easily attainable their information was. He was part of the hacker group called Lulzsec and even lived up to the name. The group only wanted to cause mayhem and expose security flaws to mock them. He managed to hack Sony PlayStation in 2011, getting access to 77 million people's data and caused a network blackout for 24 days. None of these 77 million people's identities were stolen, he just did that to prove a point. Like many hackers, his sentence was light, consisting of 1 year in prison only. Number 3. Jacob Appelbaum. This particular hacker lived a tough childhood. Being given up for adoption and dealing with druggy caretakers took a big toll on him. Now he's known as a representative of WikiLeaks, which has caused him a lot of inconveniences. Secondly, he's also the spokesman for Tor Technologies, which supports platforms like WikiLeaks by redirecting emails between different countries, hence securing their locations successfully. Even though Jacobs has not been accused of hacking, he is still detained by airport security and has had his electronic equipment seized on multiple occasions. Number 2. Kevin Mitnick. The first ever hacker, Kevin Mitnick, first hacked into the computer system for Digital Equipment Corporation at the young age of 16. For this, he was sentenced to 1 year of imprisonment. But then he hacked into the Pacific Bell voicemail computers right at the end of his sentence and was arrested again. That's not all. He had to spend 8 months in solitary confinement because, according to Mitnick himself, he had hacked into the Department of Justice computers and could launch nuclear missiles by whistling into a payphone. After 5 years of jail, he's now a successful businessman who's helped improve security reinforcement in his clients' firms. No wonder he was known as the most dangerous man in the 1990s. Number 1. Gary McKinnon. Lastly, we have the world's most dangerous hacker who even leaves Mitnick behind. Gary McKinnon, the legendary hacker, has pulled off huge stunts and left behind messages such as, "Your security is crap." What he did was hack into the U.S. operating systems and delete important files, which caused 2,000 computers from the United States Army's Military District of Washington to shut down for 24 hours. He also has hacked into 97 other United States military and NASA computers in just 13 months. Before he could cause any more damage, he was arrested in 2002 and has been in prison ever since. That's a wrap for our list of the most dangerous hackers in history. Which of these do you think might end up causing harm to the world? Let us know in the comments section below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for similar content. See you in the next one.